Got a question asking if a tenant has to allow a landlord, I guess, to take pictures of the inside of the rental unit, and are there any potential issues regarding that? Hi, my name is Rob Wells. I'm the Landlord Warrior on TikTok and YouTube. Please feel free to like, share, and subscribe to our videos. Now, we've talked a lot on the channel about one of the authorized reasons why a landlord can enter a property or a rental is to show the property and to facilitate its sale. Okay, that's codified in Civil Code Section 1954. Okay, so a tenant would not have a right to exclude a landlord from, showing the property to prospective buyers or vendors and so forth, such as appraisers and repair people, etc. Here, okay. Now, kind of a issue about taking photos. Okay. I would probably say, landlords have to be mindful that you do have a duty to your tenants as to quiet enjoyment of the property. Okay. So my thing is this. Okay. I don't like taking pictures of the inside of someone's unit, especially if someone doesn't want those pictures taken, okay, because of those privacy issues. All right. Now, and I probably would think that most real estate professionals probably don't want you to, or for marketing purposes, it's probably not a good thing to have, taking pictures of a tenant's belongings, that type of stuff, because it looks, it probably doesn't look clean. Okay. You're trying to market the place for a new potential buyer. Okay. And usually, you want to paint the unit in a light that, will appeal to most buyers. Okay. They can imagine what their home space is going to look like and that type of deal. And I don't think taking pictures of, someone else's stuff is going to achieve that purpose. Okay. Now, I will say that, if a tenant objected to taking the pictures of the outside of the rental unit, which is in public view, I think that's too far, okay? Because you don't have an expectation of privacy outside your home, okay? So I think taking pictures of the exterior of the property, that's probably within the landlord's right. The way I would try to handle this is to work with your real estate professional and work with the tenants, your tenants as well too, so everyone's on the same page. If there needed to be a picture of something like a feature inside the home, I would try to see if we could work out just getting a specific picture of that feature. Okay, let's say it's an indoor pool or something like that, where, hey, your tenant's personal belongings aren't there, basically, and we can get the pictures that we need about that particular feature. That's how I try to do that, because what's guaranteed in all these situations is if both landlord and tenant butt heads with each other, what you're guaranteeing is legal fees to potentially landlord and tenants counsel. Okay. Those are, I guess, good cases for us to keep us employed because you guys are fighting with each other. But, and, from the tenant's perspective, you could, if you just basically say you can't take pictures of anything or whatnot and just shut down, you might be facing an eviction, lawsuit, basically, for violating your lease agreement, for failing to give access, that type of deal. And then from the landlord's perspective, listen, I would try to work with your tenant, because how much do you want to spend on legal fees, okay, to fight, what pictures you can take and so forth. I would try to just steer clear of things in the interior of the property if all possible, and work with your tenants with, we're just trying to film certain features of the home. Okay. If at all possible, I'd probably get your pictures when the property is vacant. Okay. And this might be a situation too, where you're contemplating terminating the tenancy to facilitate that sale. So, I think in the long run, I think the moral of the story is, sellers of property, landlords, if you're thinking of selling a property, having a game plan and talking these things out before you actually put together the listing package basically, and just don't go into this, thinking haphazardly, okay? Because you're going to have these issues, okay? You're going to want to work with your realtor or real estate professional to make sure everything looks good, and so you can market the property appropriately. So I think this is something you probably want to work out beforehand, or at least kind of think through before you actually start showing the property with no plan. So landlords, if you're facing a situation where you might need to show the property and you need some help navigating through the process, or terminating a tenancy, or talking about what your rights to terminate a tenancy are to facilitate a sale of a property, feel free to reach out. We might be able to help out. Put your comments, questions down below. I'll try to answer them to the best of my ability. Until next time, folks, I'll talk to you then. Thanks.